my name is JoAnn, and I am the author of Off the Rack and also the creator of Beyond the Booby Trap. And I'm so happy to have JoAnn Bruso here. And she actually wrote a book called Baby Bites, which is an amazing book. I can't wait to share it with everybody. And she's also known for taking a picture of a Happy Meal, and then actually a year later she compared a year-old Happy Meal with a new Happy Meal. And there wasn't a lot of change, which is a little bit frightening. So I'm so happy to have you here. You know, a lot of my group is trying to move forward with nutrition, especially after dealing with a cancer diagnosis, and also changing our habits for the better for our families. So I was just curious, you know, how did you get into writing the book and thinking about nutrition in children?
Well, the two actually are related, but they're separated by about 30 years. I, like many people, first got interested in nutrition when something happened in my family. And over 30 years ago, there wasn't much talk about whole foods, or organic foods they were non-existent. Mm-hmm. I found out that one of our daughters was very sensitive to the chemicals in food, and we eliminated them at that time. And it was unheard of. People thought we were crazy. Fast forward 30 years later, I have a grandson who was an extremely picky eater. My daughter was constantly asking me about what she could do, and I kind of didn't pay too much attention to her because many children go through picky eating phases. What I realized when we visited him, they live out of state, when he was 2.5, that he was on the extreme edge of picky eating. He only ate 4 or 5 foods, and it was already at 2.5 affecting his health. That's how Baby Bites, transforming your picky eater into a healthy eater, came about. I wrote it for my daughter and her son.
That's wonderful. That's awesome. So what would be the first steps? Like, let's just say I'm trying to move towards a healthier lifestyle. What would you say would be the first steps to looking at what I have in the kitchen and the household, and what should I do?
Well, that's already the first step. The first step is becoming aware. And when you look in your kitchen and you look in your refrigerator and you take an hour or two and actually pick up the things that you purchase and read the ingredient list, you've taken a huge first step. You're becoming aware of what you regularly eat. The second baby step after that is to make changes in your purchasing habits, obviously. Once you realize what you're buying, you want to distill it to as close to as the form it grew in or it came from as possible. And you can only do that by having knowledge.
Okay. Now let's just say I'm interested in change, but I say, you know, JoAnn, I can't afford to change my habits. You know, it's too expensive to eat healthy, and it's too expensive to go organic. What would you say to that?
I say that it depends on what you're comparing it to.
Okay.
If you're moving from organic, if you're moving to organic processed foods from conventional processed foods, it's going to cost you a lot more. If you move from conventional processed foods to whole foods, it's going to cost you about the same or a little less. So what are you comparing? The ultimate goal is to go as close to the way it came. And so that would mean not even processed organic foods.
Gotcha, gotcha. Now, one of the great things in your book, Baby Bites, is I love the tips. I love that you talk about making lists and organizing a little bit better, but you also have these great tips about how to clean the vegetables and fruits, and tips on storing them so they last longer. Love that. And then one of the great lists is tips for shopping in your shopping list. So what would say your top 3 are if you were to share with the group?
Well, the top 10 list came about obviously from personal experience. Mm-hmm. You know, moms are busy. Many moms work outside the home. They're raising a family. Even if you're a stay-at-home mom, you're busy. A lot of stay-at-home moms are homeschooling their own kids, and if they're not doing that, they're schlepping them everywhere. Right. At dinner time, you know, you're driving your kid to this and then to that and back again, and dinner time has kind of disappeared. So shopping tips is very important because what is in your home is what you're going to make. And you want to make it as easy as possible. I've been there with little preschoolers in a grocery store and have a screaming kid and trying to figure out what you're putting in name of the cart. I actually do a little thing when I speak to moms groups. I'll blindfold a mother and I'll pull things out of a bag and hand her two and say which one is a whole food and which one is not. It's amazing what you can just discern without even knowing what it is you're holding, much less reading the ingredient label, because once we put our other senses to work, we can make a lot of quick decisions that are healthy. For instance, I'll hand a woman white bread and a loaf of whole grain bread. She's blindfolded. And I'll say, go ahead, squeeze it. Well, the white bread, that has all air. The whole grain bread has weight and is heavy. You can make a decision right there without reading a label on which one is healthier.
Right, and more substance.
But as far as the top three things, some of the things that meant a lot to me is like I went a long time not knowing which fish to buy. I would hear that, oh, farm-raised fish is better. And then I would hear, no, fresh fish, you know, from the ocean is better. And then I would hear, no, that's not so good because of all the contaminants in the ocean. And went round and round. I didn't know for the longest time. And basically, if it's farm-raised, you want to stay away from that. They are raised in contained pools. They swim in their own filth. They are given diets they don't normally eat, and that's not the best fish. So you want a fish that's caught wild, preferably from the Pacific.
Okay.
The Pacific caught fish has less contaminants than those from the Atlantic.
That's a great point.
And the other is, like I said, with the bread. You want to get the most healthy loaf of bread that you can and read labels. If it has 5 ingredients or less, that's the way you're going to make it.
Gotcha.
If it has a lot of stuff you can't pronounce, you don't want that.
Okay. Good tips. Those are really good tips. Now, how can people find your book? And if you can tell our listeners, you know, how to get it, because I absolutely love it. Anybody that has children, it doesn't even matter. If you're moving towards nutrition and you're moving towards a healthier lifestyle, you can get your book at?
You can get the book only in one place. That's on my website. It's Baby Bites. That's BABYBITES .info, and you have to get the info. If you do another extension, you won't find me. The book is available there. I have a free weekly e-zine that's available there, and there's tons of information, recipes, all kinds of health news, food news, what's going on with the price of food, what's the newest thing, is it good or bad. So there's lots of stuff that you can get right from my site that won't cost you a dime.
Well, I highly suggest everybody go and get it because it's the perfect way to move forward. So thank you so much for talking to our group. I really appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure.